Hello everybody and welcome to the Real Housewives Edit. My name is Elle and I am here to talk about the two loves of my life, editing and housewives. Okay you guys, if you are watching this video, I am most likely in the hospital with a newborn baby. I did not want to leave you guys hanging during these couple weeks that I am taking off. Hopefully everything is going great. I'm sure I will update you guys in the community tab. But today I'm going to be covering a scene that has been highly requested. This is the scene, The Dinner Party from Hell, from season 1, episode 9 of Real Housewives of Beverly Hills. There are so many little things that were going on in season 1. I don't know if it's better or worse. I just think it's just different, and I'm going to be pointing out those things and also just breaking down the scene in general. I'm likely going to be making this into several parts because I think this is going to be a longer scene and a longer episode. So this is basically part 1. Let's just jump right into it.
This is stunning.
Thank you so much for coming.
I just gotta say, I see red and never leave. It's so gorgeous.
Let me see you in so long.
Okay, so very first thing I see off the bat, so all of the ladies are kind of getting together. They're, hugging like, oh my gosh, Camille, your house is so beautiful. It is so gorgeous. And then you have Alison Dubois, who if you guys have seen the scene, we know that she's an interesting woman, let's put it that way. But they cut to some reaction shots of her, and they're interesting character developing reaction shots. Now she's smiling, there's nothing wrong with it, but there's just some sort of feel about it that just feels already like almost judgmental, which is so weird. It's almost like foreshadowing moments because she's kind of like, you can see her kind of like looking at the ladies up and down. It should already be giving you a feel.
Hi, this is Alison Dubois.
Hello.
This is
Hi.
Lisa.
Hi.
It's my girlfriend Adrian.
Hi. How are
And
you?
this is
Thank you.
Taylor.
Hi. Nice to meet you.
Adrian. And this is one of my best friends.
Okay, and then I forget who's with Alison, but they just showed a little shot of her there. She's meeting the ladies, and they picked one particular clip of her kind of doing that thing, when you look someone up and down. I'm triggered by this. I try not to do it myself. Usually it's just like looking at someone's outfit, but it's that thing of almost like it's got such like a judgmental feel to it. Like I can't do it right now, but you see a lot of the ladies, you see a lot of the housewives doing it so well, but this woman in particular does it. Again, it's sort of foreshadowing of what is to come, a little bit of character development, just kind of adding a little bit of weird dynamics in the ladies. So this is just to really set the stage for the scene.
Tell me your name. DJ Taylor. Nice to meet you.
I heard about you too.
You know that show Medium?
Huh?
The show Medium on TV.
Yeah,
That's
I've never
her.
seen it.
That's her. That show is about her.
It's based on
her.
her life.
Patricia Arquette plays me.
So you consult on it.
Yes. But I have this whole other life of actually having a job, like doing something real and profiling serial killers.
Oh, really?
But the show is a nice addition. It shows people what I do.
Oh, gosh, I must watch it.
Okay, such a fabulous moment right there. So Lisa is no fool, and you can't really pull over a lot on Lisa in terms of, this is just my opinion, in terms of her being able to read people and kind of like see intentions and see motivations and things like that. Like I think Lisa's very, very, very intuitive. I wasn't like, part of her huge stan club, but I do miss her on the show a lot, and I just love watching her. I think she's watchable. We have this part where, Alison's kind of telling her just very light stuff about like, oh, I've got this job and, I've got this consulting gig and stuff like that. And just the way the music is sort of slowing down.
So you consult on it.
Yes. But I have this whole other life of actually having a job, like doing something real and profiling serial killers.
Oh, really?
But the show is a nice addition. It shows people what I do.
And then they give Lisa a big pause before she says,
Oh, gosh, I must watch it.
there's so much bubbling underneath the surface in this exchange. It is so not about the words, and the editors are helping create that little bit of tension and that little bit of context by kind of making the music slow down, adding that pause, and then adding a little bit of silence at the end and showing like her smiling back at Lisa and Lisa smiling at her, and it's almost silent, and us at the audience should be like, are you seeing what I'm seeing? That's sort of the vibe that you should be getting.
Camille Camille's had two of her friends there. One was her best friend, and one was her sidekick. I mean, psychic.
I'm calling it first thing Monday.
So, of course, you know, they show the confessional of Lisa saying this one is her best friend. That's who I guess that woman was.
And one was her sidekick. I mean, psychic.
I'm calling it first thing Monday.
And then, of course, that's kind of a shady thing. So then they cut to Lisa within the actual scene sipping her drink, which is just a common thing that the editors like to do. Of course, it's kind of like answering what her confessional is saying. It's almost like she's sipping her tea because she just said something just a little bit shady.
Where's Carl? Where's it? I bet they've gone somewhere else.
Kim's always late.
They've chickened out. They've chickened out. Hi. Hey, Kay. Thank you for coming. Thank you. It's so good to see you.
Just on a side note, there's something about Camille. Now, love her or hate her, I think she's such a good addition to the show. Like, I wish there was more Camille. Like, I wish we'd gotten a little bit deeper into her, and I think she would have let us. If you put me in a room with her, like in real life, I would be terrified and like want to leave that room instantly because it's just not my type of energy. But I think in the scenes, like, she pulls such a dynamic. She sets the stage. Even though they're just having a dinner party and everyone's just coming over, it just feels awkward already. I think it's just who she is, and I think some of the best housewives, it's just who they are that brings something to the scene where you're just like, oh, like, I don't know what's about to come. Like, this should just be like a light and easy dinner party, but she's just not a light and easy girl, and so we kind of know as an audience something's coming. It feels tense already, even though nothing's happened. I don't know if you guys agree.
Thank you, Kyle. Oh, thank you so much for coming.
Thank you for having me. Here's a little something for having us here.
Thank you.
Thank you.
When I first got there was a
Even Kyle's face feels so fake right there. Just, and I'm not saying anything bad about Kyle. I'm literally like, that's how I would feel. I would feel awkward already walking into this. Like, something about Camille, man, I don't know. I want her back. I want her back.
There was, of course, that initial awkward moment again. Here we go again. But everybody seemed to be getting along great.
Hey, Camille
Nice to meet
Grammer.
you.
Welcome
Pretty.
to my house. Thank you for coming.
Very sweet.
Oh, okay. And that little look, she's just like, this is my house. She says her full name, and then she sort of walks away. The mean girl, judgmental energy that can come off of Camille, although I don't think that that's like maybe all of her personality, which I think makes her dynamic. But when she was with Kelsey, I feel like she was just like Queen Bee, and she really acted like it. That little look, that little walk away where she almost rolls her eyes. The editors had to include that. It's just shady behavior. I love this episode. I literally did not watch it before actually doing this recap. I was like, I'm just gonna watch it with fresh eyes, and I am like, oh my God, I'm just dying. This is so fun.
Yeah, cheers, Lisa. Thank you for taking the drive.
You're welcome.
I know you're going to be
I could swim in this. The Camille cocktail was like a bowl of soup. It was huge. Yummy. And I took a couple of sips, and it was obviously designed to kind of blow your socks off.
These are ginormous.
Cheers. So now your event's on Monday. Is everybody going?
Yeah.
Okay, you're all going. Going. And I don't mind coming to town. Any excuse I can, I will. Okay, I think we're going to make our way over to the dining room.
Okay, so this is sort of just filler, just kind of say like, oh my gosh, everything's nice and easy. You know, the editors on Housewives do this a lot. Like, everyone's just having a good time. They're eating, they're drinking too big of a drinks, they're talking about future plans. Everything is so fine, right? And us as the audience are supposed to kind of be like, yeah, everything's great. But we also know, because of how they set the stage just 1 minute earlier, the tension is brewing underneath, and you can feel it. Even though you don't even know why, you can just feel it even through these light moments. Let's just put it this way. When you're watching this, you should have some feeling of anticipation, and they are building that.
I hope they bring the picture for us. We're having a girls' night, right?
My two guests of honor sit here, but you're all my guests of honor. But I'm going to have Dee Dee and Alison sit next to me, and then you guys sit wherever you want.
Then let us chat and laugh and have fun.
Again, setting the stage. Let's just chat and laugh and have fun. Us as the audience, we are smart enough now after what, 14, 15 seasons, we're like, there's no chatting and laughing and just having fun when it comes to these ladies. But I wonder in season 1 if we were all fooled. I remember watching this in real time, you guys. I don't know where you guys were when it came out, but I was definitely watching this, you know, hooked and like totally into it.
Great job with the flowers. Cheers. It's Saturday.
Okay, so just something I want you guys to check in with. The music is so funny. It's almost got like an 80s feel to it or something, or it's like easy listening sort of music. I guess maybe back then it was contemporary, but it does feel a little bit less contemporary than what they're starting to use now, depending on the city that they're in. What I think of it is more like music that's royalty free. Back in the day when you used to try to find royalty free music, which basically, you know, any music that you could put in, you know, a TV show or a video or anything like that that you wouldn't get in trouble for copyright wise, they would get this royalty free tracks, and they were always so cheesy. Now they've gotten so much better. You guys can hear the music I use like in my YouTube channel. It's so good. There's so many people making great royalty free music, but back then royalty free music was a little bit cheesier, and I'm noticing it here.
See, I'm still young, so when Saturday hits, I get all excited. I'm like, yeah, what are we gonna do, right? And that part of me still comes out, and it's a girls' night, so we're not supposed to be good. We're supposed to be really, really bad in a controlled setting.
Okay, amazing reaction shots setting the stage. Kyle looking awkward, you know, Camille even looking awkward at her friend. The music has got that cheesy feel, but there's also some space in the music for us to kind of feel that awkwardness. You guys, it is literally just foreshadowing for the rest of the night. All the editors are trying to do right now is get us in a space, get us in a headspace. They can't build a scene through just having it just happen. They have to build with like getting us in a mood, getting us in a zone. If it was just like normal, and then something came out of the blue, it's just amateur editing, honestly. It's amateur, you know, TV making. I want to say filmmaking, but it's not necessarily filmmaking. They definitely need to kind of like amp up to that. Any great movie you see, any TV show, anything before the big, you know, event happens or the big conflict or anything like that, they're warming up the audience to that. There's little moments that are getting them in the mode to get there. And that's exactly what they're doing here. So more atmosphere, right? They're showing drinks are flowing, people are laughing, you know, good food is about to be served. All of the good things are happening, but again, something is boiling underneath.
Sat next to Alison, who happens to be the medium, and of course when I first met her I thought she was a little strange.
Oh my gosh, it said Camille's house manager, and I literally got a chill through my body. Imagine having that job. I'm not trying to be mean to Camille. I just think Camille is probably very particular. Like, not like she's gonna scream at you or something, but she just seems like she's scary to me, that's all. She scares me, that's it. Okay, here we go.
The love that they have after they die is stronger than anything we can imagine.
But I guess if you're talking to dead people, you would be.
I have one big brother, no sisters. That's why I like hanging out with alpha females, because you're kind of intelligent and pretty, like you're alpha.
I think we should toast to that.
Okay, so sound plays such a big part, especially I think in some of these earlier seasons. Like they do it now, but I do believe that now in the seasons, they help us feel a lot more emotion using music and sound effects and things like that. In these earlier seasons, anything I've seen that's kind of earlier season, what they do is tend to pull the music out a lot more, less sound effects. You know how we always talk about the knife sharpening sound when someone like looks over at someone or does something like that. There's less of that going on here. There's more of like just letting people speak and picking little moments that make them sound kind of crazy. Like these moments of Alison Dubois talking about this stuff.
And pretty, like your alpha.
I think we should.
They're letting her speak. They're letting the pauses play out. They're not cutting too much around. They're letting the music go out to kind of create this feeling of total, complete awkwardness.
Cheers to the alphas. Wait, are we alphas? We're just assuming. Oh, thank you. Oh, was that us? I would say everybody here is an alpha female. I would say that. I think that's very cool. And you know what? Here's the thing. People put alpha females down so much in our society.
Well, they normally call them bitches, darling.
Yeah, exactly.
So now, how do you know Faye?
Why does this scene make me so uncomfortable? I would hate to be there. Okay. But also love it at the same time.
You know Faye. Who is Faye? I know, I mean, this is like, I know she looks familiar, but I don't know who Faye is.
She's a very close family friend. I consider her like a sister.
Oh, that's nice. You know how I know her? I saw her.
Interesting. Okay, so right there we saw Camille being Camille and saying, who is Faye? Basically, who is this person in my home? You know, and they're cutting to Faye, even though we find out in a minute that Camille knows exactly who Faye is, but she's being catty right now. Who is Faye? And even Kyle can feel it in the way Kyle responds, like, just so you know, she's very close to me. You know, she says she's like a sister. And then they cut to Kim and Kim's face, Kim's reaction. Again, who knows if it was actually in that moment right there, but it is just interesting that they cut to her and they show that reaction of her just almost like she feels sad about what Kyle just said, you know, saying that she's like a sister. It's really just character development and relationship development between Kyle and Kim, that maybe there's some sort of like, you know, Kim never feels like she's good enough or never feels like, you know, there's that sisterly bond that's really as tight as she wants it to be, etc. So I thought that was interesting. I don't remember catching that, obviously, 14 years ago. I don't remember 14 years ago, but that moment right there never stood out to me.
I saw her naked in Playboy. That's how I know Faye.
Oh, Faye. I just realized, like, she just opened up a magazine last week and happened to see it.
She posed naked in Playboy after the OJ trial. That's her.
I don't know if it was a calculated sentence on Camille's part. I find...
Whoa. Okay, so Camille comes out with this bomb. Camille is just so, like, confident in her cattiness. But she comes out with this bomb. They have this reaction shot from Kyle, right? They have some of the little reaction sounds that we're hearing now more in this season. The music starts to go in this dun, 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 like, we are arriving into some drama.
I find Camille difficult to read, but I do know, as the host of a dinner party, I wouldn't have said it.
And I thought you looked amazing.
Thank you.
I recognized during the dinner, it was the hair. I think it's the extensions and the blown up fake lips. But, and then I realized, oh my God, that's who it is. It's
Oh my gosh, she is so funny to talk like that. Okay.
That's who it is. It's Faye Resnick. The morally corrupt Faye Resnick. And I have to say that I loved your spread.
Literally.
Wow. So, you know, so much shade. They're going back and forth between this confessional of her talking SHIT and then going back to her at the dinner party, basically being so passive aggressive and being like, oh my God, I loved it. She has to mention it's after the OJ trial. She has to say this, but in the confessional, she's saying horrible, rude things. And then in the actual person, she's saying, you looked so good. I loved your spread, literally like trying to make jokes and Kyle's laughing, which as a friend, I don't know. But we've got so much more insight into Kyle now after all these years. You guys be the judge. That mean girl look from Camille. Oh my gosh, the editors must have had so much fun building this scene. Again, we don't know if that look was from actually that moment, but they grabbed it and they got it, and it's really good when she's kind of primping her hair and giving that little look. She is just a piece of work.
No, you didn't.
Camille?
Who did Waffler?
Didn't you do Playboy?
Yes.
You do. When did you do Playboy?
Years ago. That's when I met Kelsey. I didn't do the main. It's just like a supplement. I did the Playboy book of lingerie.
It's clothes. You're wearing elegant lingerie. You're not naked.
Lingerie? I thought the whole point of Playboy was no lingerie.
So Taylor comes in and says,
It's clothes. You're wearing elegant lingerie. You're not naked.
and then the music sort of stops on Camille and all of the sound is gone, which I think is interesting about this season 1. A lot of the times they'll pull out all of the sound, even the music and even the background noise. Like nowadays they tend to pull out more of like sound like the music, but they continued having like a tiny bit of background noise. But in these earlier seasons, what I'm seeing, at least in this scene, they're pulling out all of the music, all of the sound, all of the everything. Like you can't even hear room tone. They always have room tone in there just naturally, but anytime they're pulling sound out completely, they'll either have room tone or they can add room tone. And they're not even leaving room tone in, they're actually just having it completely blank.
Boy was no lingerie.
I mean, okay, we got into this conversation how I posed for Playboy too, but I was in my early 20s and I wasn't coming off of a big murder trial that my girlfriend was killed. You know, that's just a whole different, I can't, those kind of people I don't understand and I don't want to associate with.
Those who live in glass houses should not throw stones. And she threw a big boulder.
They want Kyle and I to do it as sisters.
Oh my gosh. Okay, so they have almost like dueling confessionals.
We got into this conversation how I posed for Playboy too, but I was in my early 20s and I wasn't coming off of a big murder trial that my girlfriend was killed.
Those who live in glass houses should not throw stones. And she threw a big boulder.
They're not saying it in person because everything's like, it's supposed to be like a very nice dinner party, but you have Kyle and Camille saying stuff almost to each other in the confessionals, and it's almost like they're going at it. And then of course Kim comes in and sort of breaks the tension, being sweet Kim as she is, and just saying,
They want Kyle and I to do it as sisters.
which I wonder if sort of a callback to the comment about Kyle saying that Adrian is just like her sister. I wonder if Kim's like coming in like, we're sisters, we're sisters. And then I remember right now, this reaction from Kyle is, you can just tell Kyle is just so desperate to be in the cool crowd. I don't know how to explain it. And it has so much, like, it relates so much to what we're watching right now in Beverly Hills that I'm just like, oh my God, this was a great scene to cover.
The medium next to me
Okay, so they do another establishing shot of the house as the girls are laughing. Usually establishing shots are just sort of like sweeping views of the house, but this one was kind of wonky. It almost like set me off kilter, and I wonder if they did that on purpose.
The medium next to me to my left was really enjoying herself because I saw her down, I think, 2 or 3 cocktails. And these were very strong cocktails. I actually took 2 sips and I was like, wow.
And then Alison Dubois pulls out this electronic.
Okay, so now they are getting into the Alison Dubois stuff. First, you see her kind of pushing Adrian a little bit. You know, then you have commentary from Adrian on the strength of the cocktails. And then you see her pulling out the cigarette. And of course, this is all done under the guise of like, everyone's just having fun. It's just dinner party stuff. Glasses are clinking. People are laughing, you know, but there's this sort of underlying underbelly of something that is brewing, if you will. It's just like any time that you are anywhere, you know, family, you know, event or anything like a work event or anything like that, it's never what it seems. And that's what they're really doing. They're showing kind of what is being shown on the surface, but then the women in their confessionals are talking about what lies beneath. And of course, us as audience members, we are mostly interested in what lies beneath. And we love the contrast between her being like, oh, you know, just playing and pushing and drinking and smoking her little e-cigarette or whatever. And then the context from the confessionals is what we're like, ooh, this is juicy. This is so juicy.
Ironic cigarette, like I think it's like a prop from some movie or something. And she was like, and I'm thinking, that's Jack Nicholson from The Shining. That's all I could see was Jack Nicholson in The Shining.
Oh my gosh. It's so interesting to watch this, you guys, so many years later. It still looks beautiful, like, you know, for the time, but the sheen on the confessionals, they're not quite as glammed up. The lighting isn't quite as great. They might be on green screen there still, or they might just be in their houses, and there's less music. It's just less kind of poppy. And honestly, it feels much more real to me. I think they've done a really good job of gradually making the editing and gradually making everything have a little bit more of a sheen. Like they didn't really like switch one season over, like all of a sudden everything was like glossier. It's been like a real gradual process, but I do think this original stuff where they're using less music, less sound effects, less everything makes it just feel a little bit more real, a little bit more fly on the wall. And of course the ladies are less aware of what this show actually is because it hasn't become the phenomenon that it is now.
Alison, I need to ask you, do you kind of feel like people that passed around?
I definitely make sure with people who died, like if I'm at a dinner party with y'all, they gotta take.
That's such an interesting thing. Like Lisa asked that question, and while the medium is answering, they really hang on Lisa's face. And that's just another kind of real tactic to kind of show like who we're focused on. Right now we're focused on Lisa and she's very intent on this question, right? So instead of cutting straight to the medium, we're getting a little bit more insight into Lisa. And also I do believe that Lisa is kind of us in this situation. She's a little bit skeptical of this medium. She has been since the moment they met outside. So she's very intent on listening to her answers. And I think this is just very Lisa in general. She's intuitive. She's very intent and very like perceptive and wants to hear every little word that someone says. And so that's kind of why they're hanging on her on that shot.
Take a second, share, because you are the ones that I'm focused on. But I head tap people too, so I pull thoughts. But like, I'll be able to like tap into somebody and be like, she has father issues. The mother kept her mouth closed, didn't stand up to the father. That's why she has mother issues and the daddy issues. Daddy was like never there. And so I start pulling that information.
That's interesting. As she's saying the thing about the daddy issues, the mother issues, they kind of hang the camera on Taylor. And I know just because I was watching this episode, earlier in the episode, there was a part where Taylor is talking about how she was a child of domestic violence, which I thought was really interesting because I know, you know, she had a situation with her husband. So when they talk about like father, mommy issues and stuff like that, they really hang the camera on Taylor. Interesting.
That information. Yeah.
Are you head tapping me now?
Oh, no.
Oh, go on.
I had brought Alison basically as a guest, and I didn't want her to feel like she had to perform for anybody that night.
Don't think I'm doing this to you ladies, because we're having a girls' night. I respect. I have
and
my
we respect
limits
you
with
because
everybody.
you want to have your girls' night too. Exactly.
But can't you do something?
I think I've been having a great conversation with
No,
y'all.
but I mean, can't you? Is my grandmother here? I mean, to me, it's like a doctorate at a dinner party. You're
Okay. Lisa just knows how to sort of poke the bear, which I like. She's got like a little sense of humor. She's a little bit like I don't want to say she's a prankster, but she's like always kind of open for a good time. I think that's why she was really good with Brandy for a while. They were kind of friends because they were both kind of mischievous. And she's mischievous here. She's being mischievous and she knows it. And she's just, yeah, she's poking a little bit and I kind of like it.
always like, oh, can you tell me what's wrong with me here? So naturally, I'm going to ask her about her chosen profession.
I was studied by scientists for several years and on Oprah in front of 70 million people. But I'm kind of like a drug. Once you get one, you want it again. And so I'm just putting it out there. I'm just being honest. And you know what?
Okay, so the reaction shots are amazing with her like tooting her own horn and talking about how amazing she is. Everyone's reaction shots, beyond just the going like, ooh, good for you, are so funny. Kyle looking over at probably her sister or someone, just kind of like, oh my gosh, what is even happening here? We as an audience are supposed to be kind of at this point like, oh my gosh, this woman is a piece of work. What is about to come out?
You know what? I hate to say it, but we're having a girls' night, so I'm off the clock.
We're just curious.
Okay, so then she says, I'm off the clock. She's doing that weird kind of thing where she's setting boundaries and being very firm, but also has a big smile on her face, which is terrifying to me. And the ladies, of course, keep coming back. And the music there stopped to kind of like emphasize her point of like, I'm off the clock. Don't talk to me about this again.
This is why vodka is a really
She didn't eat dinner, so I'm gonna have to watch you on these.
Oh yeah, you're gonna have to watch.
Did you? No.
She's off the clock. Maybe I should whip out my credit card. Should I do that and say, how about now? Can I ask you a question now?
Okay, so Kyle's kind of talking behind her back. They're showing Camille as Camille's like sort of looking like it almost is supposed to show like, oh, Camille's like not happy with them talking behind her back. The music is getting a little bit more suspenseful. They're cutting to her, you know, taking a drag of the cigarette. The tension is building here. You as an audience member should be all in. At this scene right here, at this moment with Kyle kind of talking behind her back and kind of laughing at her, if you are not totally leaning in, they have not done their job, because they had so much to work with this character, Alison Dubois, and with all of the personalities here at this table, and with Camille's energy kind of like setting the stage for everything. If the editors weren't able to make this one of the best episodes of Real Housewives of Beverly Hills, which it absolutely is, then they were not doing their jobs. But guess what? They were absolutely doing their jobs, because at this point, like, I literally have to go right now. I have to, my child just came home with the babysitter, and I'm like, I just need 2 more minutes. Okay.
So Allison, can we just have one person? Everybody is so excited about the fact that you are so gifted.
And what is that? I'm obviously not giving. Don't tempt me. Really.
Ooh, Allison.
Okay, so Faye, who, you know, has been kind of attacked a little bit by Camille just earlier in the night, she comes out and she's just like keeps going, because I think she's got a little bit of the support of Kyle, of Kim. Like, it's like there's more ladies on one side than the other, and so they're kind of like going at her.
Touche, baby.
What does that mean, don't tempt me?
I thought, oh, no, don't, Kyle. Save yourself. I'm telling you, I feel this is not a good situation.
Okay, we are all Kim here, although we want Kyle to say what she did, because we do want that, you know, it to come out. But when Kyle says that, there's a little bit of that mean girl Kyle stuff coming up, which is like, no matter how you feel about Alison Dubois, her just saying that, like, don't tempt me stuff, like, she's poking the bear too. Oh my gosh.
Don't get me started. And what does that mean?
Okay, so interestingly enough, they have this shot, you know, it's kind of over the lady's head. I've talked to you guys about dirty frame before. Some of the ladies are in the foreground and you can barely see Alison's eyes. I know they have a camera on another angle of her, which is a little bit more of a clean shot of her, but they decided not to use it. You guys be the judge why you think it is. I personally just think it just adds a little bit more of sort of like a dirty, like sort of like suspenseful element to the scene. It kind of makes it feel more real and raw. And honestly, you can just see her eyes and sort of this smoke or this cigarette, and it just is like kind of a creepy look, and they decided to use it, and I love it.
Be honest, do you really want to go there? Because she might pull stuff that some people might not want to hear. You know, it's best for her to perform a reading one-on-one, because a lot of personal stuff comes up. So if somebody's husband's cheating on them or something, she'll know it. And you just don't.
Well,
Couldn't you just tell us stuff without telling us anything scary?
Something that's not scary?
Yeah.
Oh my God, but what I want to tell you might be
Okay, so the music stops when Kyle says that thing about like, don't you just want to tell us something that's not scary?
Cheating on them or something, she'll know it. And you just don't.
Well, couldn't you just tell us stuff without telling us anything scary?
Everyone's laughing and having a good time except Kyle. I feel like Kyle has really taken on this moment and being really serious about it. She's not just tempting fate, but she's really challenging, I think, Alison. She's really challenging her. I talked to this woman one time who was a medium, and she was trying to do her medium thing on me, and everything she said was wrong. I remember thinking in the moment, like, do I tell her that she's wrong and make her feel bad? Or do I just like, oh my gosh, you're right? Like, it was just such a weird moment for me. And if I was a mean girl, I would have challenged her to keep coming up with more stuff because she kept getting it wrong. Anyway, I thought that was funny.
be irritating to you, so I so hesitate.
Just say it. Just say it. Don't take
Okay.
it. It's fine.
Okay. Have you been married twice?
No.
Oh. Well, then that's the last one you have. I guess that's good news. I was thinking she was going to have to get married again, which meaning you'd have a divorce.
If my husband ever leaves me, I'm going with him.
He will never emotionally fulfill you. Ever. Know that. As soon as the kids are bigger.
Oh wow, this cut was so crazy, so fast. Everything that they have, all of the reaction shots that they're getting now are the ladies kind of turning from these big smiles to less happy, because when she starts bringing up husband stuff and, you know, marriage and divorce and things like that, it feels like it's like, ooh, the room just got really heavy. You're not just telling me like my grandma's in the room. Like, you're talking about serious stuff that's right here. Kyle says, you know, I can take it, and then she jumps right into that. I personally believe there was probably a lot more that happened before that actually went down right there, but I think she just, for editing's sake and for just kind of getting into the meat of the argument here, they jumped right into her saying the thing about, you know, your husband will never emotionally fulfill you. And wow, I think like it totally changed. You can hear the music change, you can see the reactions change. It's definitely flipped the switch on the scene, and this is when it really starts to roll. Honestly, guys, I have to go right now. I'm sorry, I just keep talking and talking, and these videos get so much longer than I expect, but I am going to make a part 2 of this video when I have a little bit more time to film. But wow, this is a great point to jump off, because it's exactly when the scene kind of takes the switch to, oh my gosh, look over here, beautiful drinks and beautiful food and beautiful this, with a little bit of underlying tension. Now that tension is all coming to the surface, and everything's gonna sort of like flip here. Stay tuned for the next one. I promise I won't make it too long until I release the next one. I really appreciate you guys watching. I can't wait to talk to you again about some more current stuff going on, but again, I'm probably in the hospital with a newborn baby. I really appreciate you guys watching, subscribing, doing all the things that YouTube loves, and until next time.
He will never emotionally fulfill you. Ever. Know that.
Jeez Louise. Something seems a little off with Mauricio.